If you expect disappointment, then you can never really get disappointed, as stated by MJ and Spider-Man No Way Home. And that's exactly, if you're a longtime WWE fan, how you have to kind of approach these shows. Hey everybody, SonGoshuaku here, and welcome to my WWE Royal Rumble 2022 review. Alright, so we're kicking things off with the first match for the WWE Universal Championship. Roman, the Tribal Chief Reigns versus Seth freaking Rollins. And I guess that's what they're officially calling him now. Alright, so anyone who's been following my last few WWE reviews knows that I am totally down with the Tribal Chief Roman Reigns, one of the best things going in WWE. And Seth Rollins has more than held his own as this new character. The storyline, basically, I wasn't really feeling it because it felt like they were trying to retcon the reconciliation when they did with the Shield back in 2018, 2019. So I guess we're supposed to forget about that now. But regardless of that, the match was awesome. You know, these guys in real life are close like brothers, and you see the chemistry in the ring. The match was fantastic. Great spots. You had Seth Rollins coming out in the old Shield gear, which it was kind of a little weird for me because seeing Seth Rollins in his new mannerisms where, you know, he's all dancing all over the place and stuff like that was interesting because it's in the Shield gear. You were just so used to him being all, you know, really like tough and everything, and all the Shield members were tough. I even saw a one-man Shield bomb that Seth Rollins gave to Roman Reigns, and I thought that was really cool spot. They were kicking out of each other's finishes. Just an all-around great match. And then the finish happens. I guess you could say Charles Robinson, what did they call him in WCW? Little Nate. He was basically up to his old tactics, as I thought at first the idea was that Seth Rollins passes out and then his arm hits the ropes, but he grabs it at the last moment. But I guess the referee helped him put it there, and then Roman wouldn't let go of the hold, and they call for the 5 count, and it's disqualification. And that's the only downer part of this match, because I'm like, you can't let Roman Reigns get a clean victory over Seth Rollins and keep things moving to another opponent until you get to WrestleMania. But other than that, Roman did the callback where he used the chair and knocked Seth Rollins down the back and just completely repeatedly hammered Seth Rollins back with those chair shots. So the post-match beatdown was pretty good. I think further greater establishing Roman Reigns still being a heel from the WWE's presentation point of view and stuff, because he's been getting some massive cheers. Everybody throwing the one up. I am right there as well too. Like I said, I'm a big fan of Roman Reigns in this Tribal Chief character, so we'll see where they go from here. But overall, really good match, but the finish, a DQ on pay-per-view, not something that I'm always a fan of. Next up was the Women's Royal Rumble match, which I was very surprised to see going on this early, and especially with all the surprises that may have still came and the ones that they had announced. I'm thinking, well, this would be a much bigger deal, especially with the rumored surprise return. Why not make this the main event? And yeah, I wish it would have been the main event. Hands down, the best Royal Rumble match on this show. So the number one entrance was Sasha Banks, and if you're an anime fan like me, I know you popped as well to see her come out in the Sailor Moon inspired gear. So awesome to see that. Love when wrestling and anime mixed together. And then we had Melina at number 2. Now, I haven't actually kept up with Melina post WWE career, but it was cool to see her. And the only thing is, like, the entrance took forever because I guess she was trying to get the jacket off, so they had to keep panning to Sasha's face. And then when the match started, she's gone as soon as the match starts, as soon as the bell rings. And I'm like, that's weird. You think they would put a lot more respect on Melina given her accolades and how many times she's been a women's champion in this company. So that was weird. I had to ask my friends. I wasn't sure, did she have like an injury or something? Because I was like, I thought she was still active. So it was cool to see Melina for the short time that we did. From here, I'm just going to go through some of the key moments in this Royal Rumble that stood out. Tamina came out and she was dominant. And then shout out to Zelina Vega coming out in Maru Uchiha inspired gear. So as an anime fan, once again, that was awesome. It's interesting that Sasha Banks got eliminated so early in this Rumble match, because I was thinking that, if they're bringing her back now, that's going to mean that they maybe want her to win this Rumble to face Charlotte, as that's been rumored for WrestleMania, but she ended up getting eliminated quick. So it's like, if she wasn't like maybe fully healed yet from her knee injury, why risk Sasha so early coming back if she wasn't even going to win this Rumble match? And we, of course, had got like a lot of the women that were announced ahead of time. Summer Rae, it was cool to hear her theme song again. You had Michelle McCool. Yeah, something that actually stood out to me was outside of the Bella Twins, Michelle McCool, it felt like a lot of the women that they brought back were just in there to fill spots, which we obviously know WWE went ahead and fired a lot of the wrestlers last year, so they needed as many spots to fill as they possibly could. But there were just certain things in here, like when Cameron came out, like you had Alicia Fox, you had Melina in the same Royal Rumble match, and you didn't even do a funny spot call back there from the Tough Enough. And for a lot of people out there think that Cameron's favorite match is still Melina versus Alicia Fox, but she did say several years on the Stone Cold podcast that her favorite match now is Ricky Steamboat versus Macho Man at WrestleMania 3. But yeah, any spot where she maybe like just became a fangirl obsessed to see Melina and Alicia about to go face to face in a Rumble and then they eliminate her, I mean, it would have been a great comedy spot. Instead, they used Cameron. Even so, you could have had her team up with Naomi to go ahead and beat up Sonya Deville, who came out, and I guess she has this thing where if she has the vest, she has corporate powers, and then when the vest is off, she's just a competitor. So I'm not sure what's going on there. Of course, she eliminates Naomi, even though Naomi eliminated her after Sonya eliminated Cameron. Other really cool spots, Molly Holly came out as Mighty Molly, but before she could get into the ring, Nikki Ash basically doing the whole superhero thing that they were doing between them both. She ended up attacking Molly and throwing her out. So that was a really cool spot to see. By the way, Molly and Lita are my two all-time favorite women's wrestlers. So to see them in this ring, it's a big win for me. One of the things that was cool seeing Lita get a lot of shine, we saw Mickie James come out with the Impact Championship to Hardcore Country, which is my favorite Mickie James theme out of between her time in both Impact and WWE. So that was really cool. They gave a lot of respect to Mickie James. One thing that was really cool was paying it back. Michelle McCool was eliminated by Mickie James. So a little basically nice way to, I guess, to finish up that story. We all remember the terrible Piggy James story almost like 12 or so years ago. And then Lita eliminated Mickie James because, as we know, Mickie James was Lita's last official WWE match as a full-time competitor. So that was really awesome to see. One thing that was interesting is even though you had Charlotte Flair and Bianca Belair in there going a long time, they didn't really eliminate anybody, and there really wasn't any one particular star that was just throwing people out left and right. Another really cool spot, we got Ivory. Ivory came out in the Right to Censor theme, and yeah, I was going crazy because I was like, how would me and my friends joked for years, what would the Right to Censor be like in this current era of WWE where PG is pushed very hardly? I mean, they've stepped back from it a few years from now, but it's been pushed very hardly nonetheless. And they kind of developed the character to where, instead of talking about the way WWE used to be, it's almost so more like she's kind of talking about the way people are in the world now. So she evolved the character to fit the way life is here in 2022, and that was awesome. And by the way, Ivory looked fantastic. 60 years old. That is just once again a complete testament to if you take good care of yourself, you can look great at any age. So that was really awesome to see. The most noteworthy thing, though, from this Royal Rumble that anyone's going to be talking about is the 28th entrant, which was Ronda Rousey returning 4 months, I think, even after giving birth. And that's another one. Shout out to a lot of the women in this match because a lot of them were mothers now. So for them to get back into in-ring shape so soon, that was really awesome. I think that's really fantastic. So much respect to them. Another thing that I really did like about this Rumble match is the consistency from WWE. You don't always get that. Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, Charlotte Flair, these are three women that have consistently been sort of close to the final or made it to the final four when doing these women's Royal Rumble matches. So it shows consistency. It shows that they are a force to be reckoned with. So I really do appreciate that. How many times have we had it where, like, you'll see later on the men's Rumble, Nakamura, he won it this year, and then he comes in and he's just thrown out really quickly, and it's like, oh wow, this is a former Rumble winner. He knows what it takes to survive. So I really appreciate the WWE doing that in this match. So the final four come down to Charlotte Flair, Ronda Rousey, Bianca Belair, and the number 30 entrant, which is Shayna Baszler. Not a fan of the new music, by the way. So Bianca eliminates Shayna Baszler, and then Bianca is eliminated by Charlotte, and it comes down to Charlotte and Ronda. And we all knew exactly where this was going, but I was still a little surprised because they had Ronda Rousey one-shot Charlotte Flair right over the top rope. Wasted no time. They didn't even try to make it anything dramatic. So they were here to tell you that Ronda Rousey is back and with a force. And you know, if Charlotte Flair goes over that quick and it is not a big, long, epic struggle, like, wow, they're trying to really make a big deal out of Ronda Rousey's return. And so this seemingly sets up for where we're going at WrestleMania, Ronda Rousey and Becky Lynch. Basically completing the feud that started 3 years ago, as we never got that one-on-one match at WrestleMania. I'm just not sure how the dynamics of that is going to work, because now Becky is a heel and Ronda is back as the baby face, you know, when that was the switch dynamic 3 years ago. But we'll see how it goes. They've got their big marquee match, and it looks like they're both going to be two-time WrestleMania main eventers now. I have been very critical of the way WWE has presented Bianca Belair, and I definitely think she needs to be in the championship picture. I am glad that she at least won the Rumble last year, and I am okay with WWE going in this direction. But definitely for the future, I do think Bianca Belair needs to be up there, because Ronda and Becky both can only get you so far. That is in terms of new stars, but WWE just made a big deal with Disney, so financially it doesn't matter what they do. But I would, at least as a fan, love to see Bianca get back there in the championship picture. So the next match was for the Raw Women's Championship, Piper Niven, because I'm not going to use that ridiculous name they gave her, versus Becky Lynch. Now, what's really weird about the way they did the match order on this show, you would think with a finish like that to Royal Rumble, everyone's already going to know where this is going. So why not have this Raw Women's Championship match go on before the Women's Royal Rumble? But clearly, WWE Plus felt like it's not going to matter. They're going to figure it out. So the match was okay, as much as you would expect. Becky basically breaking out big move after big move to try and overcome the power of Piper Niven. But in the end, Becky wins with a manhandle slam from the top rope, and that's it. And apparently during this match, the pyro that went off when Ronda was celebrating actually caused fire to the WrestleMania 38 sign, and as a result, they had to evacuate that area. So there was probably a lot of distraction, and that might have been another reason why the crowd heat wasn't so high for this match. And now, the match that I waited for over 15 years. I'm talking about since I was in middle school, for the WWE Championship. Brock Lesnar versus the almighty Bobby Lashley. Yes, I'm pretty sure anybody who grew up as a kid or a teenager in the Ruthless Aggression era, this was a match you've been thinking about for a long time, and this is what I would have rather preferred at WrestleMania. Going into this, I already knew there was going to be some sort of screwy finish to get to Roman and Brock, so I was just hoping that it'd be a pretty good match from the start, and we definitely kicked things off with some good old-fashioned, old-school wrestling. I mean, if you grew up in the early, the early 90s, late 80s, you know, just having two big dudes about to go at it and do that, the tie up and lock up, and they're testing each other's power and trying to do the test of power. Like, yeah, this was like a nice callback to those matches that used to happen. And neither could budge one another. And then Brock went into Suplex City mode against Bobby Lashley, and these suplexes looked dangerous, and Brock would end up on the receiving end of it from Bobby. And anyone knows how good these guys are when it comes to wrestling and MMA. So it was really cool to see this, seeing the spear and how Brock was basically aware outside the ring this time to get out the way, and Bobby goes right through the barricade. So I thought the first half of this match was good, and then the pace really slowed down because Brock just kept going back to the German suplex after German suplex after German suplex, Suplex City basically. And so this is kind of where the match and the pace slowed down. And I was hoping for a little bit more variety here. And then before things could really get going, the referee's standing close and they do a referee spot. Referee gets knocked out. And this is where Roman comes out and does the spear to Brock Lesnar. So, you know, I thought he already got his revenge against Brock when he sucker punched him, but I guess he still wants to come back at Brock even though he's doing his own thing on Monday Night Raw now. So, yeah, that is what it is. But the big thing here was that we finally got the reveal that Paul Heyman and Roman basically in cahoots the whole time. He throws the WWE Championship over to Roman, and Roman ends up knocking Brock down a second time after he had already delivered the Superman punch, and then Roman and Paul walk away. So now we officially know that Paul Heyman was with Roman the whole time. And what I really did not like too in terms of this ending is Bobby Lashley crawls over and puts his arm over Brock Lesnar and gets the pin. 1, 2, 3. Yes, I am glad to see Bobby Lashley as WWE champion again, as I never liked the way they took it off. Like, I wanted to see Big E become champion, but I wanted a better build up to it, not just on a random Raw cash in. But yeah, this just did not seem right. Like, Bobby is like they call him, the Almighty. He can beat a beast like Brock Lesnar with the way he's been presented in the storyline. I wish they would have done a clean finish, but I already knew, like I said at the beginning, you have to expect disappointment, so you're not as disappointed. So I knew that Bobby was going to win this via shenanigans. They were just throwing this in here basically as a way to further the story between Paul, Roman, and Brock. Hopefully we get to see another match between these two, because it wasn't the barn burner that I was hoping it would be, but I would love to see it where there's no more shenanigans and it's just these two beasts and Almighty going at it one-on-one. But for what it was, the first half of the match I thought was good. And we'll see where they go from here, because I don't know who Bobby Lashley is going to face for WrestleMania. Like, there's just been so much of a lack of build-up. More about that in the main event. Next up, one of the funnest matches on this show, Edge and Beth Phoenix versus Maryse and The Miz. Yeah, this match was a lot of fun, a lot of cool spots. It was all over the place, though, in terms of rules. And if you play the SmackDown versus Raw games or the 2K/2K games now, if you do a mixed tag team match and you basically get yourself into an intergender spot in a match, you're automatically disqualified. And we had that through this. And then there was even parts where they were all four were in the ring, and the referee, she just wasn't counting at all. I actually had told my friends they should have called this, instead of a mixed tag team match, it should have been a tornado intergender match, because when you have Beth Phoenix beating on Miz down in the corner, and then you have Maryse, albeit I say a very impressive looking top rope Hurricane Rana, but she's attacking Edge nonetheless, and then you've got Edge and Beth Phoenix doing double spears to the Miz. It's like, it's all over the place. You've got Maryse grabbing on Edge's hair. I'm like, okay, what are the rules in this match? But it was a lot of cool spots. We got to see much more of Maryse wrestling, because she was one of the more decent wrestlers of that Divas era and everything. Because obviously, yes, a lot of fans, a lot of people don't fondly remember the Divas era of the wrestling after Trish and Lita left. But Maryse was one of the better ones in the ring, and I'm glad they allowed her to be in the ring a lot more than she was. I was there in 2017 at WrestleMania, 33 in Orlando, and I felt like she didn't really do much in that tag team match. But yeah, this was awesome. Shout out to all four. They did a tremendous job. This match was fun. I really enjoyed it. One of the highlights definitely of this Royal Rumble match. And at the end, I think Beth Phoenix, she hit the spear on Maryse, and then both Edge and Beth Phoenix, to both their opponents, did the double glam slam. 1, 2, 3, it's over. Really cool to see Edge and Beth Phoenix. Beth Phoenix also right up there, close next to Lita and Molly Holly, is one of my all-time favorite women's wrestlers. So yeah, I mean, seeing my all-time 3 favorite women's wrestlers on the same show, big plus for me. And Edge has been one of my all-time favorites, basically probably my top 20, I would say, maybe, when it comes to professional wrestling, or at least in WWE. So that was fantastic. I can't complain about this match. This match was fun and definitely delivered what you want out of sports entertainment, what you want when you watch WWE. And now the main event, the men's Royal Rumble match. Now, I mentioned earlier that I thought with the way the women's Royal Rumble ended, and with even all the big spots and moments that they did have in there, that was the one that should have main evented, and by far was, like I said, the better Rumble match. This men's Royal Rumble match, my stepfather, my brother, we used to watch the Royal Rumble, order the pay-per-views back in the 90s and 2000s and stuff like that. And I just remember us watching, and we were always popping for every big name that came out. When you had these characters, you had all these wrestlers, and it had something going on. It was just always a fun moment, no matter how low on the card you were, how high on the card you were. It was just fun. There was a lot of tremendous in-ring talent in this match. But the problem with WWE today, because of the poor lack of star building and the poor lack of storytelling, it just these none of these wrestlers had that big feeling. They should, with how tremendous they are in the ring, but with the lack of just the stories, man, it's like this match is just like literally waiting for everybody to come on out until we get to the end where we know Brock Lesnar's coming out. And this match lacked a lot of that structure, even in certain simple things, and like Omos, for example. When Omos is in the ring, this is the big guy, then like, oh, who's gonna throw him over the ring? They did this even just a couple of years ago where Brock was a beast and in that ring, throwing people out left and right, and then Drew came out and he was the one that eliminated him. Here they just had everybody gang up on Omos and throw him out, and that was it. And it's like, who gets made a star? Who gets made to be a star based off of just doing that? They all had to work together. Yeah, it puts Omos over that he got eliminated by multiple men, but where's that big moment where like, holy crap, like if Brock came out, at least even something like that, like, how's Omos gonna get through Brock now? But they don't do that. So it's like, I don't know, it feels like Omos is this giant without much of a direction in WWE. They don't really know what to do with him. It was cool seeing AJ Styles come out and him and Bobby Roode have a face off and the fans chant TNA, but then Roode is thrown out quickly. AJ Styles, I wasn't into the whole, I'm not into this whole Happy Corbin and Mad Cat Moss, but it's like just every person coming out, and the way this Rumble, it lacked a certain type of flow. It lacked a certain type of structure. That's the problem with this men's Royal Rumble match. And it was cool to see Drew McIntyre come out, and we did get a couple of surprises like Shane O'Mac. I didn't think a lot of this was rumored, but it was cool. Shane's first ever Rumble win, and then he eliminates Kevin Owens. The fans booed that, I noticed. And I was just joking with my friends and stuff and saying, well, hey, Shane's got to stay grounded in this Rumble match. Don't be trying to jump off anything here. It was cool to see Johnny Knoxville from the Jackass movies. He sold a lot better than his pal Steve-O. I'll say that for much. If you all remember the Umaga match back in the day, God rest his soul. Bad Bunny came out, and a lot of fans, myself included, much respect to Bad Bunny. You could tell how serious he takes being in the ring, and there he's doing some cool moves, Canadian destroyers. But no matter what happens in this Rumble match, it all comes down to the finish, which at number 30 was Brock Lesnar. And I knew Brock Lesnar in my predictions. Even everybody, shout out to the No DQ family. Everybody, for the most part, knew that, hey, it's going to be either Roman or Brock entering this match at number 30, whoever loses their championship. And Brock just comes out and quickly makes short work of everybody. Even Randy Orton, who got a big hometown pop because they were in St. Louis, and then that whole place was packed, like over 44,000 something in the stadium. But yeah, it was like it's like Brock gets out there and just starts making light work of everybody, and it eventually ends up coming down to him and Drew McIntyre. And Drew even had a moment where he's in his face and he's like, there's a few more people here. And yeah, Drew was a surprise there because I didn't know if he was going to be back in time or not. So I wish they would have done something similar with Sasha as well. 24 hours from bringing her out. Why not just wait as a big surprise in the Rumble? But yeah, Brock Lesnar ends up making short work of McIntyre. I mean, McIntyre did put up a little fight. He's able to avoid the F5 the first time, but the second F5 he gets thrown right out of there. And 19 years afterwards, Brock Lesnar wins the Royal Rumble match for a second time. Here's an interesting fact that I typed out earlier to my friends in a message regarding Brock Lesnar having won his second Royal Rumble. I said 40% of the Royal Rumbles from the past 20 years has been won by 4 out of 5 of the graduating OVW class of 2002. Brock Lesnar having won 2003 and 2022, Batista winning 2005 and 2014, John Cena winning 2008 and 2013, and Randy Orton winning 2009 and 2017. That can be taken as either a nice long-time investment or a severe lack of creating new stars. Maybe both. Probably, yeah, both. That's crazy. I mean, yeah, it's nice that they were able to get that. They were able to stretch that investment out for 2 decades. But yeah, the fact that you had to do that, all those guys absolutely should have won when they did in the 2000s. But you kind of wonder, was any of their 2010 to 2020 decade victories Necessary. You know, they could have gotten to Roman versus Brock another way and used this as a way to try and elevate a new star, but they didn't. They could have given it to an established star who never won the Royal Rumble, but they didn't. But it is what it is at this point. So I expected Brock to win. That's why I said I'm not disappointed, because I was already expecting they were going to go this route. But man, the build up to get there, this Rumble match just lacked a lot of. It's like eating some sort of food, but it lacks that flavor, a flavorless food. Like, you know, it's a good dish, but there's no flavor to it. It's like it's not fun to eat. You're just eating it because you gotta eat to survive, but you're not enjoying what you're eating. And that's the thing with the Royal Rumble. Like, Royal Rumble is cool. It's a great concept. We've loved it for decades, but this felt like it's just here to get to Brock. They didn't even try with Brock coming out number 30. There was not much suspense at all. But like I said, with the new Disney deal and all the investment, the Peacock deal, the deal they have where they're gonna have Elimination Chamber in Saudi Arabia, and then think about the network deals. WWE is making so much money right now. It doesn't matter what they put on the product. So as fans, you know, and especially long-term fans, the only thing we can do is basically hope for a good show, because we have to expect disappointment, so we're not as disappointed. But at least if we do expect disappointment, guess what? If there is a really good storyline they do and it pays off with a really awesome match, for which is the reasons we love to watch the WWE, then we're left pleasantly surprised. And that is the current state of WWE here in 2022. So at the end of the day, I feel like the show is gonna really be most remembered for the return of Ronda Rousey. Well, that does it for my Royal Rumble 2022 review. I will be back for a WrestleMania 38 review, and definitely let me know what you thought of this Royal Rumble in the comments below. In the meantime, take care, and here are my plugs. Thanks for watching. Check out my content here on the screen. Plus, remember to like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you are notified when I release new content. Also, if you're interested in any of the equipment that I use, or TubeBuddy, which is a great tool that can help you grow on YouTube, I'll have all links in the description and pinned comment below, along with all my social media platforms.